Welcome back, everyone. It is now May 30th of 2021. I hope you're all having a great Memorial Day weekend. Now, as we approach June of this year is when a lot of things are going to begin to develop for the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one major aspect of the Star Wars universe that a lot of fans are looking forward to is, of course, the Kenobi series, as well as the Ahsoka series and more. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to check me out at Mike01 on Twitter if you would like to. Now, looking ahead to the future, when we look at John and Dave and exactly what they're trying to set up with this new expanded universe is that they're trying to drag in tons of Star Wars Legends content into the Disney canon of the Star Wars universe. That's exactly what they want to do to satisfy many of the hardcore fans. We're talking about the fans that have supported Star Wars from the very beginning back in 1977. The ones that also really grew up with Star Wars Legends, you know, the books, the novels, and the video games, and the comics. I mean, they really are the dedicated ones. They are the ones that really made Star Wars what it is today because of how they supported it. Now, when we look at Kathleen Kennedy, however, on the other hand, she really dismantled the sequel trilogy with The Last Jedi. It had so much potential when it came to The Force Awakens. You know, it was a little bit of a rough start, but it was still entertaining at best. That's what I always like to say with The Force Awakens. It was an entertaining movie. Was it a perfect installment for the Star Wars universe? Not really, in my opinion. It had a lot of similarities to that of A New Hope. It felt like that they were playing it very safe. Even Bob Iger confirmed that they played it safe because they didn't want that type of backlash that LUCASFILM got with the prequel trilogy movies. So, moving on beyond all of this, ever since the Gina Carano firing back in February of this year, a lot of fans left Star Wars, a lot of fans canceled their Disney Plus subscription. However, currently Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy is still working very hard on the Acolyte TV show with Leslie Headland that is set to tell new tales of the High Republic era, since it takes place just decades before Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Both Kennedy and Leslie are set to make a major announcement for the show sometime this summer. However, in a recent interview with Kathleen Kennedy, when she was actually being questioned about the Acolyte TV series, she was eventually questioned about firing Gina Carano. Kathleen Kennedy went on to state that I believe that I and others over at Disney made the right call by letting go of Gina, given that we had warned her to stop posting such material on the internet that does not disappear multiple times to her. Kathleen Kennedy also goes on to state that what I did was very hard as a decision, and it was a hard call to make because I know that there are fans that love Gina and her character Cara Dune, and that she was a person that just would not listen to us and others up at Disney. Kennedy also reveals that it's not that I like to fire anybody, but if it does not meet with how our team and with the cast and the crew is supposed to work and operate, it's only going to make things toxic for the environment, and that is one thing that I was trying to distance from and do not allow. When Kathleen was questioned about how she fired Gina and why it was not done in private and was exposed on social media, Kennedy replied that was absolutely not my intention at all to let this unfold over Twitter or any of those social media sites. It somehow just got out before it was supposed to. There are many over at Lucasfilm that did not come to me, or that did come to me, multiple times arguing about Gina and her social media posts, and I had discussed letting her go, and somehow, from someone, it got out before I could call her in private. Now, here's the thing about Kathleen Kennedy. I just want to take a pause here because this really does make me think, is this Kathleen Kennedy covering herself up, or is she legitimately telling the truth? Part of me really feels like that this is covering herself up. I feel that she 100% knew that she would get a lot of backlash from this regardless. Number two, I believe that she herself intentionally let Gina Carano's firing go public before she was called in private. I think that personally, she allowed this to get out by one of the Lucasfilm's employees on Twitter easily just like that, and that's exactly what she wanted. It could have been Kathleen Kennedy's way of doing this on purpose, just because she's a horrible, person, or it could very well be that Kennedy was just trying to avoid a very awkward situation, which I think that's the least likely scenario anyway. When we look at Kathleen Kennedy as a producer and as somebody who is high in the ranks over at Hollywood, I mean, she is the president of Lucasfilm. Just let that sink in. I mean, she's the one that really steered Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, in the wrong direction. She's very significant in Hollywood in the worst way, not in the great way. So, Gina Carano, like I've said before in the past, when we look at her as an actress, she has a lot more opportunities coming up by other production companies. I mean, she's already working on some other project with Ben Shapiro. We'll have to wait and see exactly what that is. I still stand by my opinion that that's a good call on her end, kind of shifting away from the traditional Hollywood bubble and kind of going the alternative route. I like that. I think you're going to see more and more actors do that, like Tim Allen, for a great example. But moving on from this, something out of nowhere really tells me that this is Kathleen Kennedy completely lying and just covering herself up. Obviously, she wants the Acolyte TV series to succeed. She does not want to create any kind of burn or any kind of, trails of fire behind that's going to dissipate some of her loyal fans. She doesn't want to do that or take any kind of risk doing that or making herself look bad. So she's trying to hang on to specific Star Wars fans or new fans that are going to eventually check out her Acolyte TV series to leave behind a legacy before she moves on to Starlight Productions. Starlight Productions, in case you guys did not know, is supposedly Kathleen Kennedy's new production company that she's working on that's going to be unveiled in 2022, and how she's going to drag a lot of Lucasfilm employees over there, basically transferring them over to this new production company. Now, obviously, when we look back at everything here related to Kathleen Kennedy, I mean, how she claims that it was never her intention to let this go public on Twitter or any of those social media sites like Facebook and whatever have you, I think that she 100% knew that that was going to happen. I would not be surprised if she even intentionally allowed one of the Lucasfilm employees, be it a writer, a visual artist, whatever it is, whoever's on Twitter, to break that news. I have no doubt in my mind that that was Kennedy's call, or if it was done on accident. It was either or. That's the two likely scenarios in my book. So it almost comes off like Kathleen Kennedy is trying to sound like that she cared for Gina and that she just tried to not fire her and gave her so many different warnings, and those warnings did not work, apparently, according to Kathleen Kennedy. So, take it for what it is, guys. Let me know what you think about the entire situation between Kennedy and Gina Carano. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.